The transport ship Galactic Unity slowly approached the massive space station orbiting Kepler 442b. Inside the cramped passenger section, 4 human cadets pressed their faces against the small windows, watching the alien structure grow larger by the minute. Kang Min sat quietly in his seat, his dark eyes studying the other passengers. Most were aliens, tall, scaled creatures with multiple arms, beings made of what looked like living crystal, and others he could not even begin to describe. They all seemed to tower over the humans even while sitting down. "Look at the size of that place," whispered Li Jun, his voice filled with wonder. The space station stretched for miles in every direction, its metal surface covered with strange symbols and lights that pulsed in patterns the humans could not understand. Han Sol said nothing. She sat with her hand resting on the head of her companion, a sleek creature that looked like a cross between a wolf and something else entirely. The animal's fur was darker than space itself, and its intelligent eyes watched everything around them with calm interest. "Why did they even invite us?" asked the 4th human, Kim Do. He was the youngest of the group, barely 18 years old. "Everyone knows humans are the weakest species in the galaxy." Kang Min turned to look at him. "That's exactly why we're here. The Galactic Defense Academy wants to study us. They want to understand how a weak species like ours survived long enough to reach the stars." The other alien passengers had been stealing glances at the humans throughout the journey. Some pointed and whispered in languages the translation devices could not handle. Others simply stared with expressions that could have been curiosity or contempt. It was impossible to tell with alien faces. When the ship docked, the humans gathered their few belongings and prepared to disembark. Each of them carried a simple bag with basic supplies. More importantly, each had their companion animal with them. Li Jun's falcon perched on his shoulder, its sharp eyes scanning everything. Kim Do's bear-like creature walked beside him on all fours, its thick fur rippling with each step. Han Sol's wolf creature stayed close to her side, moving with fluid grace. The docking bay was enormous. Hundreds of alien cadets filled the space, representing dozens of different species from across the galaxy. The humans felt incredibly small as they walked down the ship's ramp. A tall reptilian figure approached them. Its scales were deep green, and it wore the uniform of a high-ranking officer. When it spoke, its voice was deep and carried the authority of someone used to being obeyed. "I am Commander Veltar," the alien said. "Welcome to the Galactic Defense Academy. You are the first humans to attend our institution in over 100 years. Kang Min stepped forward and bowed slightly. "Thank you for accepting us, Commander. We are honored to be here." Commander Veltar looked down at the humans with what might have been amusement. "You will find our training methods quite different from what you are used to on Earth. Here we believe that only the strong survive, and only the strongest lead." The commander's eyes moved to the animals accompanying the humans. "I see you have brought your emotional support creatures. How very human." There was no mistaking the contempt in the alien's voice. "These animals will not be permitted in most training areas. They will only distract you from your studies." "With respect, Commander," Han Sol spoke for the first time, her voice steady and calm. "These are not pets. They are our partners." Several nearby alien cadets heard this and began to laugh. The sound was harsh and grating to human ears. One of them, a being made of what looked like living crystal, stepped closer. "Partners," the crystalline alien said, its voice ringing like broken glass. "What can these pathetic creatures possibly contribute to military training? They look barely capable of surviving without constant care." Kang Min noticed that his 3 companions had gone very still. Their animal partners had also stopped moving, though their eyes remained alert and focused. "I am Cadet Jixara," the crystal being continued. "I come from a world where the gravity is 3 times stronger than your Earth. My people are born warriors. What are you humans born to be? Food for real predators?" More laughter came from the gathered alien cadets. Commander Veltar did nothing to stop it. If anything, the reptilian commander seemed to approve of the hostile reception. "You will be assigned quarters in Section C," Commander Veltar said to the humans. "Training begins tomorrow at dawn. I suggest you rest well. It may be the last peaceful sleep you get for a very long time." As the humans were led through the station's corridors, they passed training rooms where alien cadets practiced combat. Through reinforced windows, they could see beings hurling each other across rooms with incredible force. Energy weapons fired beams that could cut through solid metal. The sounds of battle echoed through the halls. "This place was built for warriors," Li Jun whispered. Look at the size of everything. The doors, the corridors, even the ceiling heights. They're all designed for beings much larger and stronger than us. Their quarters were small but functional. 4 beds, 4 storage lockers, and a common area barely large enough for all of them to stand in at once. The furniture was too big for human proportions, making them feel even smaller than they already did. That evening, as they prepared for their first day of training, the humans sat together in their common area. Their animal companions rested nearby, but Kang Min noticed that none of them seemed to truly sleep. Their eyes remained partially open and their ears twitched at every sound from the corridor outside. "They think we're weak," Kim Do said quietly. "We are weak," Li Jun replied, "at least by their standards. Any one of those alien cadets could probably break all 4 of us in half without trying very hard." Han Sol was stroking her wolf companion's fur. The animal looked up at her with eyes that seemed far too intelligent for a simple Earth creature. "Strength isn't always about size or physical power," she said softly. Kang Min nodded. "Tomorrow they'll test us. They'll push us to see how much we can take before we break. We need to be ready." Outside their quarters, the sounds of the alien academy continued through the night. Strange roars echoed from the training areas. Heavy footsteps thundered through the corridors as massive beings moved about their business. The humans were thousands of light years from Earth, surrounded by creatures that could kill them without effort. But as they finally settled down to rest, their animal companions arranged themselves protectively around the room. Han Sol's wolf took position by the door. Li Jun's falcon perched where it could watch the windows. Kim Do's bear creature lay down near the ventilation system. Kang Min's smaller companion, a cat-like animal with unusually bright eyes, positioned itself in the center of the room where it could see everything. Tomorrow would bring their first real test. Tomorrow the galaxy would begin to see what humans were truly capable of. But tonight, they rested under the watchful protection of partners that the aliens had dismissed as pets. None of them knew that in the Academy's medical bay, Dr. Kethmori was reviewing the biological scans taken of all new arrivals. The readings from the human-animal pairs showed something unusual, neural patterns that seemed to connect the humans and their companions in ways he had never seen before. The doctor made a note to investigate further. There was more to these humans than met the eye. The alarm that woke the human cadets was not a gentle sound. It screeched through their quarters like the cry of some dying machine, forcing them from their beds in seconds. Outside their door, they could hear the thunderous footsteps of alien cadets moving through the corridors. "Training begins in 15 minutes. Commander Veltar's voice echoed through the station's communication system. "All cadets report to Combat Arena 7. The humans dressed quickly in the standard Academy uniforms they had been given. The fabric was tough and designed for combat, but it hung loosely on their smaller frames. Everything in the Academy was built for beings much larger than them. When they stepped into the corridor, they were immediately swept up in a river of alien cadets moving toward the training areas. Massive beings towered over them on all sides. Some had multiple arms ending in claws that could tear through metal. Others moved on legs as thick as tree trunks. The humans had to jog just to keep up with the casual walking pace of their classmates. Combat Arena 7 was a vast circular room with a floor made of some kind of energy-absorbing material. Weapons racks lined the walls, displaying tools of war from a dozen different species. In the center of the room stood an instructor, a being that looked like it was made of living metal, its body reflecting the arena's lights. "I am Instructor Thane," the metal being announced, its voice ringing like struck steel. "For the next 6 hours you will learn the basics of close combat. Those who cannot keep up will be removed from the academy." The human cadets exchanged worried glances. 6 hours of combat training would be challenging enough for beings their size, but they would be competing against aliens who were naturally stronger, faster, and more durable. "Your animal companions are not permitted in this training area," Instructor Thane continued, looking directly at the humans. "They will only interfere with proper combat instruction." Han Sol felt her wolf companion press against her leg. The animal's fur bristled slightly, but it made no sound. "Where should we leave them?" she asked. "There are holding areas for personal belongings near the academy's entrance," the instructor replied dismissively. "Security will ensure they are not disturbed." The humans had no choice but to comply. They led their companions to the designated area, a sterile room filled with lockers and storage units. Other cadets had left various personal items here, but none had brought living creatures. "It's only for a few hours," Kang Min said quietly to his cat-like companion as he prepared to leave. The animal looked up at him with those unusually bright eyes as if it understood every word. Li Jun's falcon perched on his arm one last time before he gently placed it on a comfortable shelf. "Stay here, old friend. We'll be back soon." Kim Do's bear creature seemed reluctant to be separated from him. It made a low rumbling sound and paced back and forth in the small space they had been given. Han Sol knelt down and placed both hands on her wolf companion's head. For a moment, the two of them stared into each other's eyes. Something passed between them, a communication that had no words. Finally, she stood up and walked away, but not before looking back one more time. When they returned to the combat arena, the real training began. Instructor Thane divided the cadets into pairs for sparring practice. The humans quickly discovered just how outmatched they were. Kang Min was paired with a creature that had 4 arms and stood nearly 8 feet tall. Within seconds of their first encounter, he found himself flat on his back, gasping for air. His opponent had moved faster than his eyes could follow. Li Jun fared no better. His sparring partner was one of the crystalline beings, similar to the arrogant Jixara they had met the day before. Every time Li Jun threw a punch, his opponent's crystal skin absorbed the impact without effect. When the crystal being hit back, Li Jun felt like he had been struck by a hammer. Kim Do tried to use his youth and speed to his advantage, but even the smallest alien cadets were stronger than any human could hope to be. He spent most of the session being thrown across the room like a rag doll. Han Sol was paired with Jixara herself. The crystalline cadets seemed to take special pleasure in demonstrating the vast difference between their abilities. Every attack Han Sol attempted was easily blocked or deflected. When Jixara struck back, Han Sol barely managed to avoid serious injury. "Is this truly the best that Earth has to offer?" Jixara asked loudly, making sure every cadet in the arena could hear. "I have seen younglings from my world who fight better than this." Laughter echoed through the arena. Even Instructor Thane seemed amused by the humans' poor performance. The pattern continued through every exercise. Strength tests showed that the weakest alien cadet was 10 times stronger than the strongest human. Speed trials revealed that the humans could barely keep up with their opponent's slowest movements. Endurance challenges left the humans exhausted while their alien classmates had barely begun to exert themselves. By the end of the 6-hour session, all 4 humans were covered in bruises and barely able to stand. They had not won a single sparring match or completed a single exercise at an acceptable level. "Perhaps Earth should reconsider sending such weak specimens to our academy," Instructor Thane announced as the session ended. "Weakness in oneself is forgivable, but weakness that endangers one's teammates is not." The humans limped back to the storage area to retrieve their companions. The moment they opened the door, their animals rushed to their sides. Han Sol's wolf immediately began sniffing at her injuries, whimpering softly. Li Jun's falcon spread its wings and made agitated calls. Kim Do's bear creature made low growling sounds while examining his bruises. "It's okay," Han Sol whispered to her wolf. "We're fine. Just some bumps and scratches." But the animals did not seem convinced. There was something different about them now. A tension that had not been there before. Their eyes seemed sharper, more alert. They stayed closer to their human partners than usual. In another part of the academy, Dr. Kethmori was reviewing the day's biological data. As the academy's head of xenobiology, he monitored all cadets for signs of injury or illness. What he saw in the human readings puzzled him greatly. Despite being separated from their animal companions for 6 hours, the humans showed neural activity patterns that suggested they were still somehow connected to the creatures. Even more interesting, the animals showed elevated stress levels that perfectly matched their human partner's physical condition. Fascinating, the doctor murmured to himself. He had studied hundreds of species over his long career, but he had never seen anything like this connection between humans and their companions. Over the next few days, the pattern repeated itself. Combat training, weapons practice, tactical exercises. In every area, the humans performed far below the standards expected of academy cadets. Their alien classmates grew increasingly contemptuous of their abilities. During meals in the academy's vast dining hall, the humans sat alone at a table meant for beings twice their size. Other cadets would walk past and make loud comments about Earth's weakness or humanity's foolishness in sending such poor representatives to the galaxy's premier military academy. Maybe we should just go home, Kim, Du said one evening as they picked at food that had been designed for alien digestive systems. We're not learning anything here except how much we don't belong. We belong here as much as anyone else, Han Sol replied firmly. The Academy invited us. They want to see what humans can do. What we can do is fail spectacularly, Li Jun said bitterly. He had spent the day being thrown around by opponents who treated the combat exercises like games. Every species here sees us as a joke. Kang Min was quiet for a long moment before speaking. They see what they expect to see. They look at us and see weakness because we're smaller and slower. They look at our companions and see pets because they don't understand the bond we share. What bond? Kim Do asked. They're animals. Very smart animals, but still just animals. Han Sol looked at him with surprise. Don't you feel it? The connection? When I'm with my wolf, it's like we're two parts of the same whole. Kim Do shook his head. I care about my companion, but I don't know what you're talking about. That night, Dr. Kethamori made a decision that would change everything. He sent a message to Commander Veltar, requesting permission to conduct detailed biological scans of the human cadets and their animal companions. He had a theory forming in his mind, one that could explain the unusual neural patterns he had been observing. Something was happening between the humans and their animals. Something that went far beyond the simple emotional attachment that other species sometimes formed with pets. The doctor suspected that these creatures were not ordinary Earth animals at all. As the humans settled down to sleep in their two large beds, their companions took up their protective positions around the room. In the darkness, pairs of eyes watched and waited. The animals seemed to know something that their human partners had not yet realized. Tomorrow would bring another day of training, another day of failure and humiliation for the humans, but it would also bring them one step closer to a test that would reveal the true nature of their bond with their companions, Dr. Kethamori worked late into the night, preparing equipment for the scans he would conduct the next day. He had no idea that his curiosity was about to uncover one of the galaxy's greatest secrets. 3 weeks had passed since the humans arrived at the Galactic Defense Academy. 3 weeks of constant failure, humiliation, and growing doubt. The other cadets no longer even bothered to hide their laughter when the humans attempted combat exercises. Some had started taking bets on how long it would take for the humans to give up and return to Earth. Commander Veltar stood before the assembled cadets in the Academy's main auditorium. Behind him, a massive display showed images of a barren, rocky moon orbiting a distant gas giant. The surface looked hostile and unforgiving, a landscape of sharp cliffs, deep valleys, and strange purple vegetation that seemed to writhe even without wind. Today begins your final examination, the commander announced, his reptilian voice carrying easily across the vast room. You will be transported to Hunting Moon Sigma-7, where you will survive for 72 hours using only basic equipment and your species' natural abilities. Murmurs of excitement rippled through the alien cadets. Many of them came from death worlds where survival training was a normal part of childhood. For them, this would be a chance to prove their superiority once and for all. The moon's ecosystem contains predators from 12 different death worlds, Commander Veltar continued. These creatures have been genetically enhanced to be faster, stronger, and more aggressive than their natural ancestors. Many of them can kill a trained warrior in seconds. The display changed to show various creatures, a massive beast with 6 legs and armor-plated skin, a flying predator with razor-sharp talons and the ability to become invisible, a pack hunter that moved faster than most beings could react. Each species will be dropped in a different sector of the moon, the commander explained. You will have no communication with the Academy until the 72 hours are complete. Rescue teams will only be sent if your life sign monitors indicate death. The human cadets sat in their assigned section, looking smaller than ever among the excited alien warriors around them. They had known this test was coming, but seeing the actual predators they would face made their situation seem hopeless. Your animal companions will be permitted to accompany you on this exercise, Commander Veltar said, glancing at the humans, though I suspect they will only provide comfort in your final moments. More laughter from the alien cadets. Several of them made loud comments about how quickly the humans would be eliminated. Some suggested starting a betting pool on which predator would kill them first. Dr. Kethamori watched from the medical observation area. Over the past week, He had conducted several scans of the human cadets and their animal companions. The results had been so unusual that he had run the test multiple times to confirm them. What he had discovered challenged everything he thought he knew about the relationship between different species. The neural patterns between the humans and their animals showed a level of connection that should have been impossible. Their brainwaves synchronized when they were together. Their stress hormones matched perfectly. Most remarkably, their companions showed cognitive abilities far beyond what should have been possible for Earth creatures. But it was the genetic scans that had truly shocked him. The animal companions were not entirely natural. Someone had modified their DNA extensively, enhancing their intelligence, physical abilities, and nervous systems. This was not simple domestication. This was deliberate engineering on a scale he had never seen before. The transport ships prepared for departure. Each vessel would carry cadets from different species to separate sectors of the moon. The humans boarded their assigned craft along with their companions, carrying the basic survival packs that all cadets received. As their ship lifted off from the academy, Kang Min looked out at the star-filled void of space. "Whatever happens down there, we stick together," he said to his companions. "Agreed," Han Sol replied. Her wolf companion sat beside her, calm and alert. "We may not be the strongest, but we're not alone." Li Jun checked his equipment one more time. The survival pack contained basic medical supplies, a small amount of food, and tools for making shelter. "At least our companions will be with us this time." Kim Do nodded, but he still looked worried. His bear companion seemed to sense his anxiety and moved closer, offering comfort. The moon's surface grew larger as they descended. From orbit, it looked even more hostile than the images had suggested. Strange storms swept across the continents, and the purple vegetation seemed to pulse with its own alien life. "Approaching drop zone," the pilot announced. "Prepare for deployment." The humans gathered their equipment and moved to the deployment bay. Through the transparent floor, they could see a rugged landscape of rocky outcrops and twisted valleys. In the distance, something large moved between the purple trees. "Remember," Kang Min said as they prepared to jump, 72 hours. We just have to survive for 72 hours. The deployment was done by parachute from a height of 1,000 meters. As the humans fell toward the moon's surface, their animal companions remained calm beside them. Han Sol's wolf showed no fear of the long drop. Li Jun's falcon spread its wings and seemed to enjoy the rush of air. Kim Do's bear companion and Kang Min's cat-like animal watched the approaching ground with alert intelligence. They landed in a cluster near a small valley surrounded by rocky walls. The gravity was slightly lighter than Earth normal, making their movements feel strange and bouncy. The air was breathable but had an odd metallic taste that made them wrinkle their noses. "First priority is shelter," Kang Min said as they gathered their parachutes. "Then water," then he stopped speaking. All 4 humans had gone very still, and their animal companions had suddenly become incredibly alert. Something was watching them. From the shadows between the purple trees, yellow eyes stared at the small group of newcomers. The creature that owned those eyes was the size of a small building, with scales that shifted color to match its surroundings. It had been waiting for prey to arrive in its territory. "Nobody move," Han Sol whispered. "Maybe it won't." The predator exploded from its hiding place with impossible speed. 6 legs propelled its massive body forward like a living missile aimed directly at the clustered humans. Its mouth opened to reveal rows of teeth designed to tear through the toughest armor. The humans had no time to run. No time to think. No time to do anything but watch death racing toward them faster than their eyes could follow. But something strange happened to their animal companions in that moment of ultimate danger. Han Sol's wolf suddenly stood differently, its muscles rippling beneath its dark fur. The creature's eyes began to glow with an inner light that had nothing to do with the moon's pale sun. Li Jun's falcon spread wings that seemed larger than they had been moments before. Scales became visible beneath its feathers and its eyes burned like small stars. Kim Do's bear companion rose up on its hind legs, growing taller and more massive than should have been possible. Its claws extended, becoming razor-sharp weapons capable of cutting through metal. Kang Min's cat-like animal underwent the most dramatic change of all. Its small body stretched and expanded, muscles and bones reshaping themselves into something that had never existed in nature. Its bright eyes became windows into an intelligence that was both ancient and alien. The charging predator was only meters away when the transformations completed. What had been simple Earth animals moments before were now something else entirely. Creatures that moved with predatory grace. That made the charging monster look clumsy by comparison. But the most remarkable change was in the humans themselves. As their companions transformed, the cadets felt something awakening within their own minds. Suddenly they could sense what their partners were thinking and feeling. They could see through their companions' enhanced senses and feel their enhanced strength as if it were their own. The connection that Dr. Kethmary had detected in his scans was not just neural patterns or synchronized brainwaves. It was something far more profound, a bond that made the humans and their companions into something greater than the sum of their parts. The charging predator was about to discover that it had made a terrible mistake. The small, weak humans it had targeted were not alone. They were part of something the galaxy had never seen before, a partnership that had been forged in Earth's darkest hour and perfected over centuries of evolution. In the Academy's command center, the monitoring equipment began to register readings that the operators could not understand. The life signs from the human cadets were spiking in ways that defied explanation. Their companions were showing energy outputs that should have been impossible for creatures of their size. Commander Veltar watched the displays with growing confusion. "What is happening down there?" he demanded. Dr. Kethmary stepped forward, his expression grave. "I believe we are about to witness the true nature of humanity's survival strategy. What we thought we knew about these humans and their companions was completely wrong." On the moon's surface, the final test was about to begin in earnest. The humans and their transformed partners faced the charging predator with calm confidence. For the first time since arriving at the Academy, they were not afraid. They were ready to show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. The massive predator bore down on the human cadets with unstoppable force. Its 6 legs dug deep gouges in the rocky ground as it charged, and its roar shook the very air around them. In the Academy's command center, alien operators watched their screens in fascination, waiting to see how quickly the humans would be eliminated. Commander Veltar leaned forward in his command chair. "Perhaps we should have given them more time to prepare," he said, though his tone suggested he found the situation more amusing than concerning. "The other species were dropped directly into similar situations," replied his aide, a tall being with multiple eyes arranged around its head. "If humans cannot adapt quickly to danger, they do not belong in the Galactic Defense Academy." Dr. Kethmary stood behind them, studying the biological readings on his private display. What he saw made no sense according to everything he knew about Earth creatures. The energy signatures from the human companions were spiking to levels that should have been impossible for organic beings of their size. On the moon's surface, time seemed to slow as the predator closed the final meters between itself and the humans. Kang Min could see every detail of the creature's scales, every gleaming tooth in its massive jaws. He could smell the metallic scent of its breath and feel the ground shaking beneath his feet. But he was no longer afraid. Through his connection with his transformed companion, he felt a confidence that had nothing to do with his human limitations. He was part of something larger now, something that had been designed specifically for moments like this. The predator leaped. Its massive body left the ground, 6 legs tucked beneath it as it sailed through the air toward the clustered humans. For a split second, it seemed to hang suspended against the purple sky of the alien moon, a perfect image of death descending from above. Then Han Solo's companion moved. The wolf creature that had seemed like a simple Earth animal just minutes before exploded into motion with speed that made the charging predator look like it was moving through thick liquid. In the space between one heartbeat and the next, it intercepted the jumping monster in mid-air. What followed happened so quickly that the human eye could barely process it. Han Solo's companion, now revealed as something far more than an ordinary wolf, collided with the predator with the force of a meteor impact. The sound of the collision echoed across the valley like thunder. The predator had been bred from the nightmares of 3 different death worlds. Its genetic code had been enhanced to create the perfect killing machine. Its scales could deflect energy weapons, and its claws could tear through reinforced armor. In all the years it had been used for academy testing, no cadet had ever survived a direct encounter with it. Han Solo's companion tore it apart in less than 3 seconds, claws that were sharper than any metal cut through the predator's armored scales like they were made of paper. Jaws that could bite through starship hulls closed around the creature's throat and crushed it with casual ease. When the two combatants hit the ground, only one of them was still alive. The human stood in stunned silence, watching as Han Solo's companion shook the life from the predator's body before dropping it contemptuously at their feet. The wolf creature's dark fur was unmarked by the battle, and its glowing eyes showed no sign of strain or exhaustion. In the command center, every alien in the room had gone completely quiet. The displays showed the aftermath of what should have been impossible. An Earth animal had just destroyed one of the most dangerous predators in the known galaxy. "Run the sensor readings again," Commander Veltar said in a voice that had lost all its casual arrogance. "There must be some kind of error." "I've checked them 3 times, Commander," the sensor operator replied. "The readings are accurate. That creature just generated more kinetic force than a small starship engine." Dr. Kethamori stepped forward, his expression grave. "Commander, I need to brief you on my recent findings about the human cadets and their companions. What we just witnessed is not an anomaly. It's exactly what these partnerships were designed to do." "Designed?" Commander Veltar turned to face the doctor. "What do you mean, designed?" "The animals accompanying the humans are not natural Earth creatures," Dr. Kethamori explained. "They are the result of extensive genetic engineering. Someone has modified their DNA to enhance their intelligence, physical capabilities, and nervous systems far beyond anything nature could produce. On the moon's surface, the other human companions were undergoing their own transformations. Li Jun's falcon spread wings that now spanned nearly 3 meters, revealing the scaled hide and burning eyes of something that had never flown in Earth's skies. Kim Do's bear companion stood nearly 4 meters tall on its hind legs, its claws extended to their full, terrifying length. Kang Min's cat-like animal had grown to the size of a small vehicle, its bright eyes now clearly showing an intelligence that rivaled any sentient species in the galaxy. When it looked at the dead predator, there was something like disappointment in its expression. The fight had ended too quickly. "This is impossible," the commander said, staring at the displays. "Genetic engineering on this scale would require technology and knowledge far beyond what Earth possesses." "That's what I thought initially," Dr. Kethamori replied. "But then I began to research Earth's history more carefully. Did you know that humans experienced what they call a lost century approximately 400 years ago?" Commander Veltar's scaled brow furrowed. "I am not familiar with this period." "Very few species are, because humans rarely speak of it. For 100 years, Earth was locked in a global conflict that nearly destroyed their entire civilization. They fought not just each other, but also an environmental collapse that made their planet barely habitable." The doctor activated his personal display, showing genetic maps and evolutionary charts. It was during this period that humans developed their most remarkable trait, not their technology or their individual strength, but their ability to form partnerships that transcend species boundaries. On the moon, the humans were discovering the true extent of their connection with their transformed companions. Through their bond, Han Solo could see through her wolf's enhanced senses. She could detect the heat signatures of other creatures hiding in the purple forest, smell the chemical composition of the alien air, and feel the subtle vibrations in the ground that indicated the movement of other predators. Li Jun found that he could share his falcon's ability to see across vast distances and detect electromagnetic signatures. Kim Do discovered that his bear companion's enhanced strength was partially available to him through their connection. Kang Min realized that his companion's incredible intelligence was augmenting his own thinking, allowing him to process information and make decisions at superhuman speed. The neural connections between the humans and their companions are not simple emotional bonds. Dr. Kethamori continued his explanation. They are active functional links that allow them to share sensory input, cognitive processing, and even physical capabilities to some degree. Commander Veltar watched as the humans on the moon began to move with new confidence and purpose. They spread out in a defensive formation that showed tactical thinking far beyond what they had demonstrated in academy training. Their movements were coordinated with their companions in ways that suggested perfect communication without words. "You're telling me that these humans have created artificial symbionts?" the commander asked. "Creatures specifically engineered to complement their own weaknesses?" "More than that," the doctor replied. "I believe they have created the next step in their own evolution. These partnerships allow humans to become apex predators on any world, in any environment. A new alert appeared on the command displays. More predators were moving toward the human position, drawn by the scent of blood and the sound of the battle. These were pack hunters, smaller than the armored beast but far more numerous and intelligent. 12 Shadowclaw predators approaching from the north, the sensor operator reported. These creatures typically hunt in coordinated groups and have killed several alien cadets in previous tests. The humans seemed to sense the approaching threat before the Academy's sensors detected it. Through their companions' enhanced senses, they knew exactly how many enemies were coming, from which direction, and what their capabilities were. Han Solo's wolf turned toward the north and bared fangs that gleamed like polished metal. Li Jun's falcon took to the air, its wings barely making a sound as it circled overhead to provide reconnaissance. Kim Do's bear companion moved to block the most likely approach route, while Kang Min's enlarged feline partner positioned itself where it could strike at any predator that tried to flank their position. They're not acting like prey anymore, Commander Veltar observed with something like awe in his voice. No, Dr. Kethamori agreed. They're acting like what they truly are, the most successful predators Earth has ever produced. The Shadowclaw pack emerged from the purple forest like living shadows, their dark forms barely visible against the alien vegetation. They moved with the coordinated precision of creatures that had hunted together for years, spreading out to surround their prey before attacking. But the humans and their companions were ready for them. Through their shared awareness, they could track every movement of the approaching predators. The Shadowclaw pack attack lasted exactly 4 minutes and 17 seconds. When it was over, 12 of the moon's most feared predators lay dead around the human position. Not one of the human cadets had suffered so much as a scratch. In the Academy's command center, no one spoke for a long time. The alien officers and technicians stared at their displays in stunned silence, trying to process what they had just witnessed. The sensor readings showed energy outputs and combat effectiveness that redefined their understanding of what was possible. Commander Veltar was the first to break the silence. Doctor, I need a complete report on your findings about these humans and their partners. I need it immediately. Dr. Kethamori nodded grimly. I'll prepare a full briefing, but Commander, we need to consider the implications of what we've discovered. If humans have developed this kind of symbiotic partnership technology, it changes everything about their status in the galactic community. On the moon's surface, the humans sat among the bodies of their defeated enemies, trying to understand what had just happened to them. The connection with their companions was still active, allowing them to sense things they had never been able to perceive before. I can feel everything, Han Solo said quietly, her hand resting on her wolf companion's head. Every living thing within a kilometer. I know exactly where they are and what they're doing. Li Jun looked up from where his falcon had landed on his arm. The bird's eyes still burned with that inner fire, and through their bond he could see the entire valley from above. This is what we were always meant to be, isn't it? Not just humans and not just animals, but something more. Kang Min nodded slowly. The question is, how long have we been this way? How long has Earth been hiding what we really are? Kim Do was still amazed by the strength he could feel flowing through his connection with his bear companion. Do you think the Academy knows about what we can do? They know now, Kang Min replied, looking up at the sky where he knew surveillance satellites were watching their every move. The remaining 68 hours of the survival test passed without incident. Word of what had happened spread quickly through the Academy's communication networks. Other cadets who were still on the moon's surface began reporting strange sounds from the direction of the human sector, roars and screams that suggested other predators were challenging the newcomers and losing badly. By the time the transport ships arrived to collect the surviving cadets, the humans had become something of a legend. They were picked up from a camp they had built in a naturally defensible position, surrounded by the remains of 17 different predators that had been foolish enough to challenge them. The other alien cadets who had mocked the humans just days before now gave them a wide berth. Whispered conversations followed them through the Academy's corridors, and more than one species began to reconsider their assumptions about Earth's military potential. Commander Veltar called the humans to his office 3 days after their return. When they arrived, they found him studying a thick report that Dr. Kethamori had prepared about their capabilities. Sit, the commander said. gesturing to chairs that had been replaced with furniture more suitable for human proportions. It was a small gesture, but a significant one. "I have some questions for you," Commander Veltar continued. "First, how long has your species possessed this partnership technology?" Kang Min exchanged glances with his companions before answering. "As far as we know, it's been part of human culture for about 300 years. But most of us don't fully understand it ourselves until we're tested by real danger. And your government sent you here knowing what you were capable of." Hansul shook her head. "Earth's military knew we had strong bonds with our companions, but I don't think they understood the true extent of what happens when we're threatened. This was as much a discovery for us as it was for you." Commander Veltar studied them carefully. "Dr. Kethmori's analysis suggests that your companions are not natural Earth creatures, but the result of extensive genetic engineering." "Can you explain this?" Li Jun spoke up. "Our histories talk about the lost century, when Earth nearly destroyed itself. During that time, human scientists developed many technologies that were later forbidden or forgotten. The companion bonds were one of the few developments that survived. Your ancestors created these creatures to be perfect partners for humans in combat situations." "Not just combat," Kim Do said. "The bonds help with everything: exploration, problem-solving, emotional support. The military applications are just one aspect of what we can do together." Commander Veltar leaned back in his chair. "I have been in communication with Earth's diplomatic corps. They have confirmed your story and provided additional information about humanity's unique evolutionary path." The commander activated a holographic display showing Earth's solar system. "It seems that your species chose cooperation over individual development. While other civilizations focused on making themselves stronger, faster, or more intelligent, humans instead focused on creating partnerships that enhanced their capabilities." "That's essentially correct," Kang Min said. "Humans alone are relatively weak, but humans with their companions become something much more capable. The question now," Commander Veltar said, "is what this means for your species' role in the galactic community." "The Galactic Defense Academy exists to train the best warriors from across known space. What we've discovered about human capabilities suggests that your species has been significantly underestimated." Dr. Kethmori entered the office carrying additional reports. "Commander, I've completed the full analysis of the human performance data. The results are remarkable." The doctor activated another holographic display showing combat effectiveness charts. When evaluated as individuals, humans ranked near the bottom of galactic species for combat capability. However, when evaluated as human companion partnerships, they rank among the top 5 most effective fighting forces we've ever studied. More importantly, the doctor continued, their adaptability is unprecedented. Other species are specialized for specific environments or types of combat. Humans with their companions can be effective anywhere, against any type of opponent. Commander Veltar turned back to the humans. "Your species has essentially created the ultimate soldiers, beings that can adapt to any threat and overcome any challenge through partnership rather than individual strength. We prefer to think of ourselves as survivors," Hansul said quietly. "Earth taught us that the universe is dangerous and unpredictable. We learned to work together because alone we couldn't survive. And yet," the commander observed, "your survival strategy has made you into apex predators." Over the following weeks, everything changed at the academy. The human cadets were moved to advanced training programs designed for the most elite students. Their performance in every exercise improved dramatically. Once they were allowed to work with their companions as true partners rather than keeping them separated, other alien cadets began approaching the humans with respect rather than mockery. Some even asked questions about how humanity had developed such remarkable partnerships with other species. The Academy's training programs were restructured to study cooperation and partnership tactics. Military strategists from across the galaxy began to examine whether their own species could develop similar symbiotic relationships. Most importantly, Earth's status in galactic politics began to shift. No longer seen as a weak species that had somehow managed to reach the stars, humans were now recognized as having developed one of the most sophisticated military technologies in known space. 6 months later, Hansul graduated from the Galactic Defense Academy with the highest honors ever awarded to a cadet. Her wolf companion walked beside her during the graduation ceremony, and no one questioned its right to be there. In his graduation speech, Commander Veltar spoke about the importance of understanding that strength came in many forms. "We have learned," he said, "that the greatest power may not lie in individual might, but in the bonds we forge with others." As the human cadets prepared to return to Earth, they carried with them an invitation for expanded cultural and military exchange between their species and the galactic community. Earth's unique approach to evolution through partnership had opened new possibilities for cooperation across species lines. Dr. Kethamori published his research on human companion bonds, sparking interest from xenobiologists across the galaxy. Several species began investigating whether they too might have overlooked potential partnerships with other life forms on their own worlds. The humans boarded their transport ship for the journey home, their companions at their sides. Through the viewports, they could see the massive Academy station growing smaller as they departed. They had arrived as representatives of a species considered weak and irrelevant. They were leaving as graduates of the galaxy's most prestigious military institution and ambassadors for a new understanding of what strength could mean. As Hansel watched the stars pass by outside her window, her wolf companion rested its head in her lap. The bond between them was stronger than ever, tempered by shared trials and mutual trust. They had shown the galaxy that humans were not alone and had never been alone. In the vast emptiness of space, partnership had proven to be the greatest strength of all.